Hi everyone. Today's video, I'm going to show you a bunch of new changes for our mini camper van. We've got solar power, we've got ventilation system, we've got indoor integrated screens, some power and storage ideas that are new. And so this video is sharing ideas with you. So come along. Let's take a look at the solar panel install. It's pretty low profile. It's about as low as I could make it. I think I've got about a 1/4 inch clearance up front. Can't tell if that's visible to you, but the way I mounted it was with brackets that match the angle of the roof rails and then clamped around the roof rails. The aluminum frame is 1.5 inch aluminum angles, front and rear. So the front and back mounts are exactly the same. With the hose clamps, it's super solid and I can install and remove pretty easily. Let's take a look around to the wiring. So I added tie downs for zip ties to the sides of the roof rails. It's attached using the Sugru moldable plastic product, so that's also easily removed if I want to later on. Now I brought the wires down through this seam, and there's plenty of clearance even through the swing of the hatch. So we come down the channel inside, and then we come in through this plastic panel on the side. I did drill a 3/4 inch hole for the wires to go through, and so I can plug that up with a standard plug when I remove the wires later on. The wires go down between the outer fender cover, bumper cover rather, and there's a drip loop at the bottom, and then it comes in through the inside here. Let's see if we can see this. I'm going to turn this light on, this reading light, and we'll open this little cover up. And you may not be able to see too well. Let me see how far down I can get. It's hard to see, but it comes in through an existing hole that had a plug in it, and I have wrapped the cables with pipe insulation to protect the wires and seal up the hole. Also, my shore power cable comes in through the same hole. Down below, I've added shore power connector here, so when we're at a site with power, I can plug in here. Let's go to the inside. As we come around, first real quick review. The upper cabinets and platform are pretty much unchanged from last year. We took it on a few road trips and it worked out great. I added the lighting to the underside of the crossbars, and that's on a switch over here. And I've got a new ventilation system down here. This, let's see, pull back. The area across the top here is an intake plenum for a blower system, so I can crack the window down, pull in outside air through that open chamber. I'll show you from the other side. And in this new cabinet, there's a stack of 4 muffin fans that pull the air from that upper chamber down into a turn that exits out across the back where our heads are and brings in fresh air from the outside. It's pretty quiet. It's on a variable speed here. I don't know if you can hear that. Relatively quiet with the door shut, and the air's flowing nicely down here. Let's see what else. Well, I guess while we're over here, you can see I've got AC power. So the cabin battery through an inverter, you can switch on the inverter via this remote. So right now I've got 120 volts on this plug. Down here is shore power, so when we're plugged in at a campsite or somewhere, I've got 120 volts directly coming off that to this plug. Over here is USB ports and then 12 volt power down here. And this is the switch for the vanity light up above. And looking forward, I've got a front header, I'll call it, with 2 recessed lights, some hooks. These lights here work off of this switch. That's off. You know, one of the keys with trying to travel in a minivan is to get as much stuff off the floor as possible. So that's why I've got hooks up high for hanging jackets and backpacks and other stuff. Hang towels. The upper cabinets get all our clothing up there. The crossbars and cords are for hanging, like hanging towels for drying. Other flat things go up on the top crossbars. But it makes a big difference. It just gets stuff off the floor. That's a priority for us. Okay, coming back around this way. On this side, same type of cabinet. There's more space in here because there's no blowers. And we have the switch for the overhead, USB and 12 volt. Power meter here, looking at, I can look at DC loads and AC loads. Up here is the remote interface, reflections, for the solar controller, charge controller. It gives me a real fast way of looking at what's going on. Let's take a look at the solar board. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. Okay. And down here, quick tour left to right, a 20 amp MPPT solar controller. Bottom left is the shutoff for the solar panel. Next to it are fuses for each of the lines in and out of the solar controller. I've got a connector to the deep cycle battery with a shutoff there. This is a 105 amp hour deep cycle AGM battery. And then we've got down here, let me see if I can get in a little closer. All right, so we've got fuse box for DC loads. This is a connector for battery charger when we're plugged into shore power. Distribution block for negatives. Got back there the shunt for power metering or power monitoring of the DC loads, and then up here is a shunt for monitoring AC loads. Main fuse for the cabin battery. 1500 watt continuous pure sine wave inverter. Distribution for shore power and AC power. And maybe that's it for down here. Let's go back towards the back of the vehicle. In back we have, below the hatch here, I've redone this hatch so that we can lock it up here on both sides. So it's a firm back for sofa mode. Down below, I've got a 40 quart refrigerator and also a 26 amp battery charger, so that when we're on shore power, the battery charger will top off the deep cycle battery. Otherwise it just sits here. I can remove it to use it for charging other batteries. So it just clips, it unclips on each side, and then I can pull it out and use it remotely for my own vehicle or somebody else's to help them out. I did add a clock and temperature station. When you're in the middle of the night wondering what time it is, you can just touch this, it'll light up. That's hard. Okay. See what temperature it is inside, and then outside is a temperature remote sensor I can hang outside, like hanging on the door mirror, and we can get an idea what the temperature is outside. One of the things that we felt would be really important is to build in some integrated bug screens so that we can leave the windows down and not deal with bugs coming in. And I wanted it to be really easy, so I built these inner frames that fit right into the second row windows. I'll try to get in close here for you and give you some other views in a moment. But it's, let's see, it's gonna be hard to see, but it's a full frame with a foam seal all the way around to the full perimeter of the window. Here it's maybe a better view. So this is a wood frame. It's 1/4 inch thick plywood, 1/2 inch thick foam seal, and it's pressed into place. I'm using some metal clips here that you can pivot out of the way to secure it behind existing hooks up high, which were used for the original sunshades. And the sunshades are still here. They still can come up out of the slot and hook up high, but don't really use them that much. The screen fits in against the rubber molding of the car right here. So the screen itself is built flat against 1/4 inch plywood, but then the edges I've built out to match the curvature of the window frame, because it's all curved here on this side, and then in the back it was real complicated because there's a compound curve here that bends both ways. It curves outwards. I just put in segments of wood to bring out the thickness of the frame so I could attach the foam and match with the existing vehicle. But it worked out really well because it seals super nice, and it's stable, and you don't have to put it in place each time. It's always there. Over on the driver's side, this is the second row window. I'll drop it down. So you can see the screen is in place. There's the upper chamber here for drawing air into the ventilation system. I'll show you that a little better here. So you can see that, there's the entry hole right here for going down into the blowers. So the way that might work is, let's say it's a rainy night or something where I would have this up a bit underneath the rain deflector, so I can still get fresh air in and pull it for distribution inside the van. We're still working on this right now, but a curtain system, a new curtain system. So this is a fiberglass tent pole harvested from an old tent. So it's basically a full width curtain rod, and we're making the curtains right now to hang on that. That should be done shortly, but it's just anchored at each end in a little block like that. So that's real simple, and it makes it so we don't have to match the curvature of the roof with the curtain rod. I did that with the cross beam. So looking forward to using that. So I guess that's about it for the update. We're going to head out on a big fat road trip tomorrow, or in a couple days anyways, and heading across the country to the West Coast, and we'll tour around a little bit and then come back, and hopefully we'll shoot some video along the way. Okay, over and out. Hope you enjoyed this.